What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the finale, the post-Ironman podcast with JG3 Fitness.
Did it!
We're no longer on the road to. We have a few ice-cold Miller Lights here. So this podcast is going to be interesting. Cheers, guys. You have Lex and Carrie with me. Kyle also completed it, but he was unable to be here, so it's just us three. Before we get started on our experience, shout out to Jason Dunphy, who had the AC joint issue. He finds out if he's getting surgery 2 weeks. He will do great next year. He's still biking a lot, running a lot, but he's just still not able to swim.
He is still Nemo.
He is Nemo.
What? I was like,
and then I'm not gonna get into the details of why, but John Biggs had an unfortunate incident the day before he was supposed to leave, so he ended up withdrawing as well. So we're thinking of you guys. I'm sure you're going to crush it next year, or whenever you guys decide to defer that to. I don't know if John's gonna wait all the way till next year, if he's gonna do a different one. I just sent him some texts and things like that, but we didn't really get into specifics. So, with that being said, I think let's get the sad stuff out of the way, and we can talk about our experience.
Was that the sad stuff?
Lex is like all of my.
Well, I mean, there's more. Obviously, it's ups and downs, but that's the stuff that was outside of our control.
Yeah.
For the actual event. So for me, the coolest part of Ironman experience, well, it's so hard to say the coolest part.
Yeah.
So one of the cool parts about Ironman was just before the event. I mean, think about how many people go down. We had a couple people in the campground with us that were doing Ironman as well. The one dude that I was talking to the night before event, he's like, how many of you fuckers are doing Ironman? You got like 30 people at your campground.
There were so many fans down there that you couldn't even fit them all in the Instagram shot. Like when you upload a photo. That's how many people were there. You know there's a lot based on social media.
For us or other people?
Us.
Yeah.
Like,
and then we fucking forgot Coriolan's version, which we're in the process of remedying that, or remedying.
Yeah, there you go.
We're in the process of fixing that. We're going to Photoshop it.
Okay, good.
That
So
picture didn't even have the parents or, like family in it.
Yeah.
That was just like Jim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, it was pretty nuts. Did you hear the story about how Corey missed it?
Yeah, I saw it on Facebook.
No.
Nobody. So we were all moving towards Lex apparently when she crossed the finish line, and no one fucking told him that.
But his whole family walked away?
No, he went to go get the car.
Oh.
Because they were parked, I guess, miles away from the finish line. So he was moving it to where we ended up getting picked up at the church right across the street. And Kylie didn't know we were doing the picture. So once we started rounding up and getting the line, she goes, oh, he's gonna fucking do it. So she had never even told him
That there was a picture?
there was a picture. She just waited until he saw it on Facebook.
Yeah.
And then she said he turned and was like, seriously? But I guess Jason almost missed it too, but Lisa had stopped him because he was going to the Ironman store. Lisa was like, hey, Jason. That was
There's a blog.
We're gonna. This podcast is gonna get way off the rails. We apologize. This has been
I'm sweating.
I'm sweating profusely.
This has been a very emotional roller coaster for some of us fucking since November. So obviously you guys enjoy this journey with us as the listeners, and everybody at this table kind of enjoy. We had our ups and downs, obviously. Right before the event, I was all over the board emotionally. Like I was like, I must be really good at hiding it because Carrie Pemberton told me I looked very cool and composed. I'm like, I had shit 3 times by that point.
I told someone I looked really lean because I had shit so many times that morning.
But it was a mixture for me because I've believe I made a joke on one of the podcasts that almost came true, which is Carrie Miley's gonna miss the fucking starting line. She's gonna miss it. And then as we're fucking giving our pep talks and we're saying goodbye to our family and hugging everybody and getting ready to go, Carrie's nowhere to be found.
It was like a game of where's Carrie?
It was like the
You guys didn't find me.
You won.
It's not where's Waldo, it's where's Carrie, and she wasn't in the transition area.
And she wasn't in line.
She wasn't in line anywhere.
Yeah, I wasn't there. I was like, oh, good thing Lex didn't ride with me. She'd be freaking out right now.
Hold it. And it wasn't your fault either, but I called it.
There was a lot of traffic on 23 that was stopped, and I was stuck in it for about 45 minutes.
Yeah.
So I went to the drop off, and some lady screamed at me and took her job serious of directing traffic because I pulled off in a new park zone.
Like, I'm a fucking athlete. Look at my wristband that's still on 6 days
so like
later.
your parking lot, how you can like line up the park,
Yeah.
and the cars were coming through, so I just pulled in. They were all empty spots. I pulled off to the side to unload because I wasn't gonna have time, so I had to like get my bag ready and stuff like that and just take off. And as I was walking away, my mom was getting in the car to go park.
Yeah.
She's like, "What are you doing? This is a no parking zone." I'm like, she's like, "It's a drop off." I'm like, "She dropped me off." She's like, "Looks like nobody's in the fucking seat." I'm like, "She's leaving right now." She's like, "How can you not understand the fucking rules?"
She said fucking?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, wait. I'm like,
I'm
I was like, "Oh, this is how the state's gonna go." Got it.
Oh,
I was
no.
like, your little parking hand, your job's not that serious. Like,
Oh, boy.
and then somebody just told my mom to park right there.
Apparently it was.
She was
I did not know
having
that.
it.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, there was no cars around in that whole line. Like,
Yeah, it was.
was not that serious.
While that's going on, we're giving Carrie Pemberton a hug, and she's telling us. I don't know what she said to you. She told me that Joe would be proud, and I'm like, no. This
I
is
just
not.
said love you, and I was like, I'm not crying.
I told her I loved her, and she started going into Joe stuff. I'm like, we're not doing this right now. I said I appreciate it, but let's do this at the end because a lot can still go wrong. And then I had my moment with all of my athletes. All of my athletes, I had a moment with where I just gave you guys hugs, told
Such a pain in the ass one.
told you I was proud of you, told you to trust your training, told you that, I don't even remember what I said, but I said something.
I think you said you got this.
Yeah. I think I probably said leave no doubt or something, one of
Probably.
those fucking lines that I've been using.
Yeah.
And then I said, where the fuck is that midget at? And then they were like, start lining up for the swim, and I was like,
Yeah.
going because I was in the first. I think Debbie said my timer went off like 7 minutes after the Ironman started. I was in the water already.
48 minutes.
So it was pretty.
So you were out of the water when I got in.
Pretty close.
Yeah.
I mean, according to Debbie, I was at the transition area not too long after 11, which is when they were going to leave the campground to go. But I don't know who noticed that I was already ahead of the pace for them to get over there.
Yeah.
So they had just got there when I got off the bike.
Nice.
But so I never got to say anything to Carrie. I'm not gonna fucking say anything to her now because she already finished. So fuck you. You don't get any positive pep talk out of me. But I'll kind of start because I was the first one in. I knew I had fucked up before I ever hit the water because I started talking to a guy, and he's like, "Is your first one?" I'm like, "Yep, first triathlon ever." And he's like, "And you're this far up on the swim?" And I said, "I was a college Division I swimmer." And everyone turned and goes, "Why are you back there?" And I'm like, "Guys, I'm just trying to take this easy." And some guy looked at me and goes, "You don't understand. Every one of those people are lying. They're not going to swim that fast." And I'm like, "Huh? Why would they seed themselves there if they're like..." Because most people don't think like you and seed themselves slower so they can relax. They're seeding themselves faster to get away from everybody. And I was like, okay. And I'm like, you got this. You're a decent swimmer.
You put yourself at 30 to 33, didn't you?
I put myself at 30 to 35. They ended up changing.
Oh.
It was 27 to 30 and 30 to 35. So I went 30 to 35. And I was up towards the 30-minute range. And I was like, it's all right. At 600-700 meters, I'll figure out what to do. And as I'm saying that, they're announcing the first fucking person getting to like the 500 meter mark.
650, like.
No, yeah, oh,
It was
650, and it took him 14 minutes, which is how long it takes me to do 1,000. And I was like, you fucked up so bad. So they're like,
It's choppy.
They're like, ding, it hit the water.
Wow.
I took 5 fucking strokes and hit the person in front of me, and I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. And then I kind of moved over, and that's when I got kicked hard as fuck right in the Adam's apple, and I literally did the swallow water, throw up, kind of like half swallow it, half spit it as I was breathing, and just go, oh no, this is not going to be good. So I kind of veered off to the side and just kind of hung out there until I decided to go back in and just go to the person because I was pretty pissed off. And then I ran over another person at like the 3/4 way. And then I just got out of the water, and I had to do a lot of breaststroke just to avoid people and stay out of the way. And as soon as I stood up, my legs were like, you done fucked up, dude. You done fucked up bad. And I was like, ooh, okay. So the swim, for me anyway, started off right off the bat. I was like, this is not going to be, you know, I talked about on the podcast, I wanted to train to make it easy. But I had to alter my plans so much from how I trained. I swam freestyle for maybe 200 yards of the entire fucking swim. I swam breaststroke almost exclusively the entire swim. So I was pretty fucking, it wasn't my quads or anything, but my inner, like my adductors from doing that split style kick. I was like, this is gonna be rough on the bike. But who was next in the water? You were. I saw the video of Eric, but why don't you talk about your emotions going into the water?
Mine started the day before. So I was stressed out trying to get down to the race because my mom went and my kid went. So, I mean, it's always a catch-22. I'm so happy that I have like the support, but then you have to like try and round everybody up, which is just a lot of stress too. I was very stressed coming into this for the unknown because I've never done a triathlon, so that terrified me. So once we got down there, it took all day. I failed there because I ate in the morning, my version of eating in the morning, as in I had
because her version of eating
coffee
is different than everything.
So I had protein coffee, and then I drove down there and failed because the check-in process legit took like 3-4 hours, I swear.
It took a little longer, probably because you went later, but I thought it took longer than I was expecting it to take us.
So it was like an hour and a half drive.
We did 2 hours. Of course, half of it was yelling at Kyle to stop fucking
Mine
around.
was a lot, because it was an hour for the athletes briefing.
CR
Then everybody went to this line to check in, so that was...
we checked in, then went to the meeting. So we missed the first
line
10
was at least standing right out in the sun, because I wasn't under the tent for the check-in. So, I mean, it was just... I downed a bottle of water standing there. I didn't have anything else. My mom didn't have her phone. They went and walked around. Like, if they said it would be an hour, so I'm gonna go walk around.
Yeah.
So then they had a station out there of like, you can test electrolytes or whatever. And like, jugs. So I just took it and refilled my water bottle. So after that, they yanked them. But so then I stood in the check-in line, which was probably at least another half hour, 45 minutes in the sun until you got in there.
That was definitely long. Whoa. We were right in, but it took a good. We went
and then once we
straight
got
up,
in
but
there,
it was like
it
20
was
minutes
getting
in.
And then we wrapped around to like the clothes or whatever and looked around. And I was like, this is, like, telling Brody, like, this is my day that I worked so hard for, you know, like tomorrow, you know what I mean? But then I had to go put myself on the field for the running bag. And then we had to figure out where we were going for the run.
Can I interrupt? I don't mean to interrupt, but I believe you were the only idiot that bought something that said finisher the day before, weren't you?
I bought an Ironman coat.
It didn't say finisher.
Oh, see, I bought it on my shirt the next day because I'm like, if I fuck this up, I don't want any reminder.
And I bought the coat and the mug, and I was like, I don't want anything else because what if, you know? But it was pretty cool. So then we went to the field and put myself in the bag or whatever. We had to walk like 5 minutes to get to the car, pay $10 to park at some stupid parking thing. But I was like, I don't know where I'm going. My service is terrible. I could not upload anything. So I followed a car that had bikes on the back. I'm like, they're probably dropping off. We're gonna follow them. So my mom's like, what if they're not? What if they're just going to their house? And I was like, they wouldn't have brought their bikes. So I just followed them.
And you found it?
And right there.
That's hilarious.
That's fucking awesome.
And then
what would have been better had they pulled into a house and carried us off.
Fuck you. And then another truck pulled out too, so there's 2 of them with bikes, like hooked on the back. Like, so I was like, perfect, see, we're all going the right way. And then one like veered off and went that way. I was like, okay, we're just gonna follow this way. So it led me to the place, whatever. So we parked, and there was a guy like a couple parking spots down, and I was like, have you done this before? He's like, nope. Have you? And I was like, no. So you're the wrong person for me to ask on what I need to be doing right now. And he was like, do you have scissors? And I was like, I do. So I'm like, let's go up there and figure this out together. So we like buddied up, whatever.
We used Google to figure out what a bike stem was.
Yep. So I asked somebody else, and she had an accent. She's like, my husband put it right here. And I was like, then I'll put it right there too. So we put our stickers on. Well, first I went through the line. I didn't have stickers on. I just had them in my bag.
Which, by the way, when you were on the bike, I looked at something, but you couldn't see anything. Like, I'm not even considered, I wouldn't call myself a big guy. On my bike, I'm covering every single fucking thing that said my bib number.
But I wonder if they did it so, like, somebody couldn't jump in and, like, bike and then...
I think they did it more so for identification in the bike area. So if someone was randomly walking around and looked sketchy, they could go, let me see your bike tag.
Because it matches this.
Because it matches everything.
They
were organized as fuck.
Yeah, they were. So this lady was like, where's your stickers? I'm like, in my bag. She's like, you need to go put those on. I was like, okay. So I backed out, I was so clueless. So then put my bike up, and I go down and I look at the water, and that's where I freaked. And I was like, that looks so far, because my train, the only time I could get it in was going to my parents' house, and I just swam back and forth to my parents' pool for 50 minutes. So then I go out there and I see like this huge course. And I legit was like,
the first time I saw it, like, there's no fucking way. And then I'm like, no, that's it.
That's it. And I was like, shit.
Yeah, like it legit just drained me. So then that whole night, like I was so nervous. Like I was so cold.
Well, that's why I was concerned with finding you, because your mom comes up to me and apparently she thinks I'm fucking Superman. And she's like,
yeah, she's like, Carrie's
freaking out. You need to make her okay. And
so
I'm
then
like, I can't even find the bitch.
So then we start freaking out. And that's when we were like running, trying to find you. Like, oh no, Carrie's freaking out all by herself.
Yeah. So I mean, the next morning, then I woke up. I was absolutely terrified, and I brought oatmeal. Christina gave me oatmeal. Didn't eat any of it, and so I had a shake too. So I drank the protein shake with the dextrose in it, and I was like, well, it's something. And then I tried, and I did have pins for my stupid running thing. So we went to Walmart at 5 o'clock, got pins, and then when that bitch was yelling at me parking, I left the pins in my car, so I didn't even have pins. So I tried eating the oatmeal, couldn't do it. I was like,
we could spend a 2-hour podcast on all of the things Carrie did wrong.
Yeah, legit. Thought I was okay. Gave my mom the oatmeal. Show up there, got marked, and put my bike. Like did all my stuff. Got in the line. Well, I looked for all of you guys. Couldn't find you. Got in line. Mingled through the line. Got out of the line. Watched the swimmers. Got back in the line. Like went to the bathroom. Came back. Like I didn't stay in the line, which is probably why you couldn't find me. I wandered. I was like, I can't just stand here. There's too many people.
If you're lost, find a spot and stay with it.
Nope.
People will find you.
I had to wander. So I watched what people were doing and stuff in the water. So then whatever, I was freaking out, my time to go. And then I hear let's go mommy, and that's where I like relaxed. I looked over and it was Brody and Eric. And then I heard like screaming for me, and I looked, but I couldn't figure out who it was. And I saw my mom, but
it was probably a combination of all
work, everyone. Yeah, so then I started going, and it was so choppy. It was very hard to figure out like how to, because the water was so dirty and there were so many people. Like I had practiced that, so the looking up and going, I looked like a massive like floppy fish in the water. It was awful. So then I kept getting kicked and run over and stuff. So then I ventured out towards the canoes. And I know like probably around like 300 yards, I was like, I'm not gonna be able to do this. Like you might as well just quit. And then I was like, you're an idiot. Like all you have to do is just keep swimming. But at first I'm like, I'm swimming so awful. How am I supposed to do this for a mile?
I think a lot of people have that same thing, because I saw so many people get, and I was in a faster area where people should have been more experienced swimmers if they're up that fast. I saw people getting boated out in 10 minutes in.
Yeah. Well, they followed me.
We had just made the first turn, and people were, I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like,
every time I would pop up, because I would get kicked or I would choke and I just could not, like, get my breathing down. I mean, I was panicking. And like the canoes, I'd pop up and they're like, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm just figuring out where I'm at. And I would just kind of like sit there for a little bit, and I looked behind me to see if there was somebody about to ram into me. And then I would go a little bit more, and the boats were like following me, so I know I stood out like a sore thumb. So then finally, when I made that first turn, and the waters almost opened up, they gave us more room, so I really opened up a little bit more.
Actually, I think the water didn't open up more.
The boaters spread it up.
Well, I don't think it was so much
I think
that. More people tried to stay close to the thing.
Well, I had more space.
I
saw it.
Yes, it opened up, but I think it wasn't the boats that moved. It was the fucking sea of people who were like, we have to stay right here. All the weaker swimmers that weren't sure tried hugging that line, where all of us smart people were like,
I wasn't a smart
I'm not
people.
saying,
Really?
and I'm not saying smart that way. Like, I had already choked on water. It sounds like she had. I'm like, I'm getting the fuck away from everywhere because I wasn't worried about being time capped. So I was like, I need to get away from these people, or I'm gonna lose my shit, and I'm gonna expend way more energy than I should.
It was the people, and like I couldn't get my mind to relax to get my swim stroke down. So like once I had that back stretch and I saw people were not around me, then I relaxed and I just went, and I saw myself just flying past people. So I was like, all right, I got this. And then once I was going, that's in my mind where I was like, I'm going to be an Ironman. Like, I'm finishing this. I got it. So then I was going and I yelled at myself underneath the water. I was like, you're a fucking idiot. Stop using your legs. What are you doing? So then I was like, pull. Like, I kept telling myself to pull as hard as I could, and I was just flying down. And then like coming in was really, really hard because the sun was right there, and everybody got really close again. So I was hitting a lot of people, and I went back to that fish out of water, and it felt like I could see the beach, so I was excited, but I could not get there. You know,
when you saw it versus when you got out, it was a good 15-minute difference.
Yeah. Oh, it was insane, and the amount of people. And at one point, there was a guy that legit went all the way on top of me, and then came back and went over my head.
That was one of the guys that were not obviously this guy, because I was probably already out of the water at that point. But if I saw someone continuously running people over, is when I was like, I'm gonna dip back in here and take care of this. And I would like literally, I would just go, I know he's coming this way and I'm going in a straight line, so instead of pulling my arm like I was, I just threw my elbow and just caught him right in the middle of the back.
It's so crazy. Like, I would stop and look up and be like, is somebody okay? Like, I hit somebody. Like, I felt bad. And I look up and everyone's just swimming. Well, like, F you.
That's why I don't feel as bad. I mean, I'm sure I sound like a dick right now, but I didn't feel as bad because I watched this guy hit 10 people and never look up. I mean, most people that hit me, even the person that kicked me, at least look back like, ooh.
Yeah,
you know,
my bad.
even though they went back and started doing the same shit, so I eventually got pissed and fucking dealt with it. But in that moment, you're like, all right, accident. And then by the third person you see him do it to, you're like, all right, you're just fucking, you're either stupid or you don't know what you're doing or you're doing it on purpose. But yeah, there were a lot of just jostling for position, and it was like, I just kept reminding myself, it's a long fucking day. Don't get caught up in this bullshit because that can ruin your day.
You could only see like algae floating. It was like streaming of like algae. I ate a lot of water.
I think that's why mine and your stomach hurt longer than everybody else's, because I ate them.
I was like, I'm gonna throw up. I never burped underwater, puked underwater.
I was burping.
I
was burping.
Disgusting.
That's weird.
No, I would stop for that. And they're like, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. And then getting out, I couldn't see anything, but then I hear a, let's go mommy. And so I saw Brody and Eric right there, and then like some work people in gym, and I was like, all right. So then I got up, my first couple stops, my legs were jello, and I was like, I've never had jello legs after swimming, so that was weird.
Well, you have several factors. You have one, it's probably the longest continuous swim you've ever done without being able to grab onto something, and you're turning. And the second part is just overall adrenaline.
Yeah.
I don't care how much you managed it, how calm you were trying to stay. You had an adrenaline rush when you started. It just was that way. So Lex, we're on to you. You hit the water then at some point during all this.
It wasn't long after you, I don't think. Maybe. But I mean,
I think we were right behind. You were right behind, according to the line placement.
Yeah.
Where I jumped in, where you jumped in.
I met some people in line because I was silently freaking out, and I could turn around and see Kyle, but that was about it. So these two ladies were talking to me throughout the whole thing, and they've done a ton of men.
While you're standing there, did you see anybody get brought? Because I mean, I'm in the
No,
water.
I didn't.
I'm in the
I
water
didn't.
seeing people get brought in.
I refused to look.
No.
So that was my thing, is I didn't.
I was watching, I could see it, and on my transition, my mom's like, they're voting people out. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, like, I didn't.
And I guess that created more waves
Yeah.
for us.
Because it was calm as fuck.
No, it was
So
choppy.
choppy.
It was horrible. But I didn't look or anything like that. I didn't even look in the water until I got up to the front, because I was like, if you look, you're just gonna freak yourself out.
Mhm.
Just wait and see how it goes. And so I was talking like, do you run into this or do you just walk in? Like, what do you do? And they're like, just do what feels right. Like, it's like, okay. So I saw Eric, because at that point I was like, oh my god, I do not see any, like, all these people are lined up, and I'm like, where are my people?
They have no idea how just like the voice or
just hearing
the face.
So
or
like I was
something.
like freaking out, and like putting on like my cap, which was way too small, and like suction cup my
Which,
head.
real quick, if you're doing an Ironman, I don't care who tells you this, don't put your fucking goggles over the cap.
I did anyway.
Swimming 101,
You
put
go?
the fucking goggles under the cap so they don't slide around on your fucking cap.
Mine didn't slide, but mine are over top.
Mine were too.
You must have a weird shaped head.
No, I told Kyle.
You told me not to
he's
do
like,
that, and I was like, I'm
that
gonna
was
do it
fucking
anyway.
brilliant. He goes, my goggles never slid.
Oh, mine didn't either.
I must not be that fast.
I think it's because my hair cut, like I had my hair up high, so then I don't know. Fuck it.
But that cap was the smallest.
It
Thanks
was-
for
fucking
telling
cap.
me
I couldn't-
after the Ironman and 9 months of training. Appreciate you.
I did not train for 9 months.
I definitely did not train.
Anyway, so you hit the water.
So I hit the water, and then I heard someone say my name, and I looked, and it's Eric, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like someone I know, like,
Yeah.
and he was literally like
In the water.
like right there in the water, and so I'm just like, okay, like someone I know, this is good, and so then I just like awkwardly dive in, like probably way before I should have. But
You're like, oh, that's so sad.
like I was just like,
I waited until.
Oh, I didn't. I
was
just,
like,
I was just like, let's go, it's time to swim. And I stayed on the inside. I know people say stay on the outside, but the only thing I had with that is I could see way
No,
better
no.
on the inside. I know you're
Again,
not calling me stupid.
what I was saying was the people that are uncomfortable swimmers, or people like myself that are just stupid
Yeah.
and think they're gonna, but you're gonna, the most traffic is gonna be on the inside.
Yeah.
So if you're a strong enough swimmer, you might swim an extra 100 yards, but if you stay out here, you're going to have a clearer path
Right.
than everybody in there. That's what I meant. I
No,
wasn't
I
actually
know,
saying.
but like I could see, and that my biggest thing was, because I mean you saw during our practice trial how
Jeez.
my straight line is not a straight line. So I was like, just stay, because I could see the yellow and the orange and everything. I was like, just stay there. But I actually don't think I hit as many people, because I could feel them, so I would like avoid them before I hit them.
Mhm.
But a lot of people hit me. Like I think I have a bruise on my arm.
The canoes kept saying,
I had one time the
I spit-
guy,
I
one
spit-
time the guy was like left, and I was like, oh my bad. Like,
I spit water at a canoe.
oh, I did.
and then at one
I was
point
like
they were,
breathing and I blew water at
Yeah.
and just fucking around.
every time I would look up, this guy was right here, and I'd swim, and I'd look up, and I'm like, am I not going anywhere? He followed me the whole way, and I was like, dude, you gotta stop. I'm throwing this on.
You're throwing me off.
Did you ever have any, like, my concern, because I mean, I had time to talk to them about what my concerns were.
Yeah.
Because I saw them and I would have gave you the same thing. Did you ever have those moments of panics, or did you because it sounds like our conversation beforehand was when you start to feel those people, kind of check yourself up so you
Yeah.
don't run into them.
Yeah,
And
I
it allows you
literally-
to stay a little more
Because like I
calm.
could feel their wake.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, there's someone here, and I was sighting. I actually felt pretty good sighting. Like I didn't think it slowed me down too much. I did end up swimming 300 extra yards, which pissed me off because that was the fastest I'd ever swam in my life. So I was like, okay, I finished it in the same that I did in the practice, but I swam 300 yards more. So then I was like, I actually did that distance in like 46 minutes. So I was like,
Yeah.
but I actually did have a big spot where it was opened up and I didn't have anyone, so I could be in a rhythm for a while on that second back spot, which was really nice.
For those of you that don't know what we're talking about, you basically did a big triangle.
Yeah.
You went out in a straight line, you turned right, you passed a set, and they were about 650 meters apart. So you went out, turned right, went out 650 more, and then when you came back in, it was like 700
Yeah, something like that.
into the, and I'm talking meters, so that
Yeah.
converts to yards, but yeah. So it ended up being, you kind of knew each time you turned, I'm third of the way. I'm 2/3 of the way
Yeah.
done.
Well, and what was really annoying is like I could because my watch would beep every 500 yards. So then when I beeped at 2,000, I was like, hell yeah, I'm almost done. And then I kept going. I'm like, when the fuck am I done?
I set mine up for the swim, and then I heard "Go Mommy," and I never started it. So I don't know when I swim.
Yeah.
Yours was 49.
I did the
But
try.
I don't know how far, and I was swam
how far.
outside, so
Okay,
I'm sure
yeah.
it was far. It was a
So
fast
I was
swim.
Yeah, so I was mad just because of that. Because I was like, I worked really hard in that swim, and I was flying, and you don't even get to see it for it. But that's okay, because I finished it.
Here's the
yeah.
weird thing. So I transitioned. I'm talking to some guy who, oddly enough, it was one of the pros right across from me that had like one of those real expensive bikes, and we're sitting here and we're getting set up, and I'm just shooting the shit because I'm like, I know I got 3+ hours on this motherfucker. I ain't going anywhere, so I'm like, you know, I see him throw something. I'm like, you're not gonna put sunscreen or anything on? And he's like, dude, they got someone over here to do that for you. And I'm like, oh, cool. And I was just like, are you gonna do that? And he's like, nah, I gotta go. And I'm like, all right. And then he comes running back. He's like, ah, fucking dude, what you did? I don't even remember what I said to him, but he's like, that's a good idea. Like, I should do that because I'm sitting there eating food and whatnot. But the hardest thing for me is, there are two really hard things about the bike. Is one, I was transitioning with people that are much stronger cyclists than I was. And the second part is we had no way of communicating amongst ourselves. So I still wasn't sure Carrie made it.
Nope.
And I didn't know, you know, everybody's biggest concern was the swim. So it's like, if we get out of the fucking water, if everybody gets out of the water, I thought the worst could happen. Obviously I ended up being wrong, and we'll get into that, but I was like, if everybody can just get out. So I'm sitting here just the first part of the cycle. I'm holding on for dear life as these fuckers go zigzagging around me, going like fucking 40 mile an hour on a bike, 30, 40 miles an hour, or whatever. And I'm just like, dear God, don't fucking hit me. And then finally some 58-year-old woman goes, on your left, you're doing good, honey. And I'm like, I'm a bitch. Holy shit. And I'm just reminding myself, I'm like, settle the fuck down. Because my heart rate was like 170. I'm like, you need to, but it took me 15 miles to get into a rhythm on the bike. I just didn't feel, I hit the first aid station, I finally looked down. It was the first time I came down below my heart rate. And then I realized I hit 15 miles in 45 minutes, and I was like, and you fucked up and went way faster than you meant to go. And then we hit that 20-mile turn, and that's the first time Joe decided to smack me in the face. And it was a straight headwind for about at least 10 miles, if not more. And I know it still hit you, but it was like a straight headwind for 10 miles. And but the cool thing for me, I'm not going to talk a lot about the bike. It was a boring course in my opinion. There were a couple of bad spots. But for me, I had custom socks made that said Forever Pemberton Strong on the front, and on the back it said Fresh Out of Bubblegum. And I'm probably going to say this a bunch on this podcast, but if you don't believe in a higher power, after doing Ironman, I don't know how you can deny that. I would literally be in hell and be like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. And a random person would go by me and yell, Fresh Out of Bubblegum, I love that. And I'm like, that's not a coincidence. You know, hey, that fucking hill at 47 miles, I don't know how I'm going to do this. I hit the top and someone going, you're doing it for the right reasons. Like just little things like that when you needed to hear it the most, when you were at your lowest point. Yeah. He took you to that low point to make sure you wanted it, but he always made sure to give you that little boost so that you knew, hey, you're not going to quit. But that bike it wasn't tough, it wasn't technical. I mean, yeah, you had a couple of tight turns, but for the most part, it was just put your fucking head down and grind. I mean, I'm happy we had as many windy days as we had, because I mean, there were times that headwind had me going 11 mile an hour and I was just like, son of a bitch. But I was shocked. After the bike, I lost count of people that had quit or had got on medical or had gone off on an ambulance at 20 people, and I hadn't even hit the run yet. And I'm going, that's when I think it sank into me, hey, what we're doing is like legit. This is like, I don't think, maybe training by ourselves helped us be optimistic on the fact that we all thought we could do it. But I mean, I'm seeing all these people getting taken off. I'm like, maybe we're dumbasses for thinking this was easy. But I'm sitting here going, I've already done this. Like, I already did a 70.3. I don't have any doubt that I can do this. But yeah, that bike was, it had some fun parts. About mile 35 is when I finally started catching the people that started falling apart. But that first 30 miles, I was just like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 17 people just flew past me like I wasn't moving in the first mile. And I'm like, and I look down at my watch and I'm averaging 22 miles an hour, and I'm like, holy fuck, I'm moving. But how
they're moving so much faster.
So, but the aid stations were really cool. I don't know how you guys experienced it. I'm sure it was about the same. But someone would be like way up at the front, go, "What do you need?" And I'd be like, "It'd be great to have a lemon lime Gatorade." And they're like, "Lemon lime Gatorade," and some fucker runs out and just holds it out for you, and you just grab it, and you're like,
squirt it
and they're like, "Squirt tip," and you're like, "Sweet." So you hold on to it until the next crash shot, and then you fucking threw it. And I was like, "That's really it was." They definitely know how to take care of you. But for me, the coolest part of the bike was coming up into the transition area, dismounting and seeing, I had missed a couple of our people on the left that said they yelled at me and I just didn't hear it, but seeing my wife, my kids, I don't remember who all was there, but I know I saw my wife and kids, and that was like that pick-me-up you needed. Like they had a sign that said, "Go Daddy, forever Pemberton strong," and a cancer ribbon, or "You got this," and I was like, yeah, I got this. And then the motherfucker in front of me pulled over and puked right in front of me. I was like, he don't got this. Fuck. Like, I mean, it was like I said, there were so many ups and downs because every time you thought you had it, and I tried yelling to one of them. I don't know, nobody heard me clearly, but I was like, what the fuck is up with everybody else? Is that even like, because I didn't know anything, so I'm now 4 hours in and I'm like, I hope they're on the bike and I hope everybody made it out of the water. And I mean, there was nothing, I was shocked at how smooth, but as how bad as my legs felt, and I've been cramping real bad. I was shocked at how good I felt in the transition period. Like I did the quickest bike to run transition I've ever done. I was like 2 minutes. I did a goo, put my shoes on. The longest time I stood there was the lady spraying me down with sunscreen. And then I was like, all right, let's put on a happy face for when you see all your people going out. But the bike was brutal, but it was very boring. Like there's not a lot to talk about from my end. There's not a lot to talk about on the bike. Carrie, how was your biking experience?
Coming out of the water, I found I could not find my bike. I ran all the way past it, and then I had to go all the way back.
We practiced that the day before.
Well, I was in the first little section, but somehow I did not see this section. So I was like, where's my number? So then I was an idiot and had to run back and found it, whatever. So I drive off. Fail number 1 on the transition. Sand. You run up from water to sand, it gets stuck in your feet and toes. Yep. So I tried wiping it off the best that I could, and I packed, for my bike shoes, I packed a pair of socks. For my running shoes, I packed a pair of socks. So whatever, I changed, put my socks on, tried washing them off, put my socks on, head out, and I put my sunglasses on, but they were like smeared. So I was like, I'm soaking wet, and I went up to my mom and I'm like, can you wipe this? She's like, I'm not touching you! You'll get disqualified!
I had warned her. That's the only thing I told her. I said, you don't fucking touch Carrie. You don't give her anything. You can high five her. That's it.
So I was like, what do I do? So I was like, I'm soaked. And the lady next to her was like, you'll dry. And I was like, okay. So I just went, and then there was people that had pumps of sunblock. So they had gloves on. I mean, they were like lathering people up like they turned white.
Oh, I know. So, but did I get burnt? Well, I'm burnt today.
I was like, all right. So I got the sunblock, went out, and I remember trying to figure out like the pace and stuff. I had a friend that does a lot of these, and she was like, stay in your lane. So I was like, all right. So then I went out, and once you got onto 23, open, wind's fine, like got your back. People were flying past me, and I was like, stay in my lane. I looked at my watch, I was going like 19 miles per hour, and I was like, all I have to ride is like a 13 mile per hour, and I will finish this race within the time cap. So I let them all fly by me. There was a lady in front of me that had one leg, so I watched her. Thought that was kind of cool, and I just let them all go. And then eventually, as we wrapped around the back stretch, like I passed all those people because I'm like, either they're just gonna go, which I'm not riding this to win the Ironman. Like I'm doing this for me. And
how many times did you say that to yourself during the, because I mean, I know how competitive of a person I am, and I hide my competitiveness well, but I probably said 150 times on the swim, 400 more on the bike, hey, you're not in this to compete.
Yeah, you said it a lot, especially on the bike.
Like, just to calm yourself down.
Surprising, knowing me,
Yeah.
who's very competitive, like it was not an issue as it is like in anything else that you know that I do. I was more there.
On the run, for me.
I was there for obviously to finish, but I think from all of the terrible experiences that I had in training, like I set myself up in all my trainings to pretty much fail and be in misery. So I knew what was going to cause misery in the race. So in my mind, it was let them go. Why blow yourself up? Because you know you still have a run to do, and the run was the hardest part during practice. And I wanted to save it. So as long as I could keep my body moving above like a 14 mile per hour, I was fine with it. Absolutely fine.
But I think that again, and this is
How far I've come.
This is going to sound like me patting myself on the back, but again, that's why I thought it was so important to do triathlons and training. Because every program I looked at was like just bike to run or do, and it was all time domain. It wasn't the actual distances. It was like bike for an hour, run for a half hour. And I'm like, no, I personally need to be in the mentality of when the shit gets tough. I hope I have felt it in training, so I know how to deal with it in the event. And you felt in training several times.
Yeah.
There are times you quit in training,
Yeah.
and that's not meant to be a shock.
And I was fine with it because I knew in my mind, yeah, like anybody else that wants to judge me or do whatever, and I put on social media, I didn't care. Like I failed or whatever it is, I'm an idiot. Like whatever people think, and that's fine with them because I knew what I was doing for myself. I know you do, and it's fine. But I mean, I would do CrossFit and then do like a workout and then go out and I try doing a 70.3 the next day. But I would work all day, not eat, don't hydrate. You know what I mean? Like I set myself up to fail. So I knew I was going to be dehydrated. I knew where my legs were going to blow up. I knew like how I was going to feel. So if I could make it through in a terrible, terrible like atmosphere and training when I get down there, because they're going to have aid stations, I'm going to have adrenaline, I'm going to have prepped a little bit better a couple days before, I knew I would feel better.
I forgot about the aid station until I came up to the first one. I was like conserving water, going, how the fuck did I not remember to add another water bottle to my fucking bike after training and running out of water? I'm like, you fucking aid station, do you want water? I'm like, that's how I forgot.
Yeah. Well, like when I would practice biking out here, like to go 50 miles, you have to go far out, and once you're out, there's nowhere that you're going to refill your water. So when I knew there, when you were like, oh, they have aid stations like every 15 miles, I'm like, so here I'm practicing in terrible circumstances, but when I'm there, I'm going to be able to replenish because I was like, I'm out of water, what do I do? You know what I mean?
No,
like the run, I'm hot, I don't have any water, I don't have any more food, what do I do? Where here I brought stuff with me.
I didn't even carry anything but a water bottle on the run because you were set up. Like Ironman deserves all the credit in the world. They had you set up. There was no scenario that had happened in training that was worse at the event. It just didn't happen. But
if I would request that they change something, the backcountry, because I know we're going to get to your experience on the bike, but for me, the backcountry roads for safety was my concern. So you would be on a backcountry road. They had law enforcement and stuff like that blocking off the intersections, which was amazing. So we never had to stop. We got to go all the way through, but I mean, you had idiot cars that for miles and miles and miles, all you see is a line of bikes because you had to be in single file line. I mean, there's so many rules on how to pass and whatnot.
But in their defense, they said if you don't see cones, treat it like an active road.
That's not what it was though. So I had, if we're traveling this way, there's a car that tried passing our whole line of bikes.
Well,
and as they were going, there was one car that, there was a car coming head on in its correct lane, so it pulled off on their shoulder, waited, and then they continued. That one was fine. There was another one that flew on down. It was coming up a little hill, almost got hit head on, so it swerved over into the lane with all the lights. So if there was actually bikers right there, he would have swiped all the bikers.
Yeah.
But it's like you see us on this country road for how many hundreds of miles, I feel like, take a different road.
I think like here
and I know they can't control it, but it's like shut it down or something.
Here's my thing. People are stupid, people are inconsiderate, just in training for the Ironman itself, I've shared on this podcast several times, I was shocked at how many fucking motorcyclists almost hit us. Look twice, save a life. Well, you fucking ran my ass off the road several times with nobody coming. There's gonna be idiots that, I saw idiots jump the fucking cones and try and go in our lanes, and everyone's like fucking screaming at them, but there's only so much they can control. I mean, you're never going to have a perfect event, but I'm not disagreeing with you. The only answer to that is to have a closed course, and the fucking logistics and cost of closing a course.
I thought they did a really good job, all things considered. Like what he said, the law enforcement, you're not like these cars, you can go, and then if there was a break, they'd let two cars through. Yeah. And then they'd stop.
And it would be backed up for a while. It was just that one car, and I was like,
that one car
really
hit
scary.
somebody, that car, I mean, obviously.
It was either head on or hit somebody.
Yeah, the aftermath would be really bad, but that car is going to be the fines and probably jail time and all that other shit. In that area that it happened, it would have been very, very fucking bad.
Yeah.
And Lex, you don't have to talk about what happened on the bike. We can skip right over that, but we're up to you on the bike. So.
Okay. So my transition was about, I think, 5 minutes, which was better.
It was about 45 minutes faster than we did it in training.
Yeah.
Mine was like 8. I was like, I'm not in a rush. I swam pretty fast. I just feel it.
Yeah. So it was like 5 minutes. At the beginning, if you remember, my biggest thing was worrying about the swim. But as time went on, my biggest worry was the bike. So I was the most anxious for this part.
I did not know that. I don't think you ever shared that.
Yeah. Because I knew I wasn't fast.
Yeah.
Which was fine, but I didn't want to set myself up for anything bad for the run.
Yeah.
So I was that became my biggest.
What you don't know is in our training, I purposely pushed you faster than you'd ever been, just to see how you react to it.
Well, it sucked, but I did it. So, going through the park was really cool and everything. My parents were actually, and all 3 of my brothers, were right at the corner, where you turn on 23, and they had made signs, and they followed me. I think I saw them literally 5 times. They drove,
they screamed at me. They're like, "Go, Carrie!" I'm like, "Who are these people? How do they know my name?"
It said JG3 on one of the signs.
Well, I'm on a bike with sunglasses and a helmet. You know what I mean?
I know.
I asked Eric, and I was like, "Can you search my number?" Because my number was on my helmet. And I was like, did they search me really fast and then find my name and scream my name? Because these guys are super fans.
Just my friends.
Hi, I'm Alexis's mom. I was like, oh.
So they literally, the night before, because I had an uncle and my grandma as well, and then another uncle and cousins, but they had literally mapped out, they found out which roads were going to be closed where. I think my dad said they drove over 70 miles just on the bike to hit 5 different spots. So that was pretty cool. So I did witness the accident and the aftermath of that. So that was really, that I think put a different tone on it for me for the rest of the day, because I wanted it to be a really positive experience and a positive day, but it did not feel that way.
Yeah.
But it was probably after the first aid station that I realized my heart rate, it was never gonna go.
Yeah.
It never went down below 165. And that was just how it was gonna be. So I was just all right, well, I guess you're going really high heart rate, and we're gonna see kind of how it goes. So,
But again, we had done that in our 70.3s.
Right.
So you kind of knew.
But
it wasn't as high.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was 158 during the trial one. It was an average, I think, 179. So I was super high for me. I tried my best to bring it down. I was okay, slow down, because those first 20 miles were so easy to fly. Yeah. Because that I was holy shit, I'm going 17.
The flash of the course, the wind was at your back.
Yeah.
And then when you get to the hills, that's when Joe was
I yelled at one point, "Are you fucking kidding me?" Like, just, I was so mad. But like, I saw the two women on the bike that I had met up at the swim. Kyle, you know, yelled, "Sexy Lexi," and was being all weird as he passed me, and he was flying and laughing. I'm like, all right, Kyle, like, just, you go, buddy. Like, you just keep going. But the bike sucked. Like,
the bike, I think.
And I think a lot of it, like you said, was really boring. There wasn't a whole lot going on, like, besides my family and, like, the couple people that were out there that lived there. There really wasn't anyone to talk to.
Everyone were really encouraging when they were by.
Yeah, so if like they passed and I didn't have the experience of too many people passing me that didn't say on your right or on your left. And I said thank you every single time because I'm just like, please keep saying that because I want to make sure I can drink something right now and not swerve or something like that. So it was definitely, that was good there, but I didn't have like the pros. I did have a couple like in their stupid aero helmets and all that shit. Like,
see, and I was so confused because I'm like, you act like you're so legit by your getup right now. Why are you behind me?
But you got
like, how does that work? Like, are you that bad on the swim? Are you in a relay? Like,
I think I'll address this the only way I know how. Everything is relative to the individual. So that person, maybe they're really into triathlon and they need all that extra shit just to be able to finish.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Like,
putting it in that perspective, if that makes sense.
That's what I kept wondering. I wanted to ask people, like, excuse me, you have a $20,000 bike. Why was I ahead of you this whole time?
My bike was made in 1990.
Those bikes, I'll tell you what though, like,
those are the only ones I saw on the side of the road with blown tires.
True. And they flew up the hills, which pissed me off. Like, they were like sitting down just going, and they like flew up the hills. I'm standing like pushing as hard as I could. Oh yeah, they'd be like,
no, a lot of them have auto gear shifters, so they don't even have to touch anything.
Oh, there were some that had like right up front, like.
Yeah, I saw that.
I'm like, what is it? Like clicking.
Straw that came up.
Yeah,
like it's like we're fucking at Disney World.
My mom's like, did you see the straws on them? I'm like, yeah, whatever.
Kind of want one.
Yeah, no shit. At one point, I'm like, that's fucking gay. But I really want one because this fucking sucks. Because once you move to the back pile, you're like,
yeah, you're like trying to yank it out.
But yeah, that one hill, I thought. The hills are absolutely awful.
Whoever told me that was flat was a damn liar.
The back 3/4 of everything but 23 had hills.
Yeah.
And they were terrible. Like, I had to stand to pedal up them, and the really awful sharp right-hand turn to go up the hill. That one.
Yeah, that was.
I was standing up, trying so hard to make it up. I thought I was gonna roll all the way back down the hill. Yeah. Like, I didn't think I was gonna make it. That's how steep it was.
There were some tough technical parts of that, but
I refused to stand up on that one because I thought I was gonna fall backwards. So I literally legged the whole way because I was like, if I stand up, I'm falling back.
I had one lady pass me and she was like, damn girl, your legs. She's like, your legs are hot.
Did you put tri-shorts over your?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I wore my no surrender gear shorts and then I put bike shorts over them and took them back off.
Okay, because I was so confused because I saw you on the bike and I was like, but she wasn't. What did she chase?
So I thought that was awesome. I was like, hey, thanks, I'm a CrossFitter, not a triathlete. But I thought that was funny.
We don't do CrossFit here.
I do.
I don't.
So, and I talked to Joe a lot on the bike, not on the swim really. We talked about the run, and I was like, okay, so you're gonna wanna quit on the run. The run is the hardest part. You're not gonna quit. So then I set up goals and was talking to Joe about it, and so yeah, I talked to him about the bike.
The easiest way to describe the run for me, and we'll get into the particulars, but Trey Chamberlain texted me and he said, I know you're getting bugged to fuck right now. In 5 words or less, how'd it go? And I said, easy yet hard as fuck. And he's like, if I didn't know you, I would think that was the most dumbass way of explaining it, but I get it. And he literally laid it out for me. He goes, easy because you knew you weren't gonna quit, but it's hard as fuck. And I'm like, yeah, it was that's exactly what it was. Like, you just had to stay in your own head. And because you had these moments on the run, like I really tried to take in when I saw my family or I saw someone I knew or or someone was taking the time to encourage me, I made a point to make eye contact, smile, and just say, okay, kind of feed off that energy.
Right.
And you just look down, next thing you're like, fuck, I'm running an 8:05 mile right now, slow it down. So I had to keep reminding myself. My biggest mistake the whole fucking day is I was so concerned with getting there and making sure everybody was there on time. I left my sunscreen and my salt tablets on the fucking counter of the camper, so I did the entire Ironman without salt tablets. And that's something I've trained with, and I have a very bad history of cramping, and I knew if I didn't take salt tablets I was going to cramp, and I started cramping really early on in the bike, and I was like, the one thing that was in your control, you didn't control, you fucking idiot. But I just kind of ran, just reminded myself that, again, I think I looked up at the clock, or I had my total time when I transitioned, and I had 4 hours and 10 minutes to do the half marathon. So I was like, I really don't give a fuck. I did have a minute, this is when I realized how bad I looked early on. At like mile 3, I want to say, someone from medical walked over and they're like, are you okay? And I'm like, I can guarantee you, you're not taking me off this course. And the guy goes, that's all I needed to hear. I'm going back. He's like, you're clearly not delirious. He's like, you can tell you're cramping. And I said, you can walk next to me, you can talk to me, but we're not even discussing the possibility of me coming off this course. And that's when I was like, you're gonna have to be real fucking smart on this. So I was pretty fucking smart until mile 7. I'm running, and I hear some girls get a little, and I'm like, oh, I know that fucking voice. So I heard Kyle yell, there's that sexy ass I've been looking for all day. And like literally there's 6 people between us, I want to say, and a couple girls took offense, and he comes up and he smacks me so hard on the ass, and he's like, what's up, buddy? And instantly he told me he knew. He's like, I've seen you run plenty of times to know you were not running. I ran with him for about a mile, and when my watch beeped, and we ran like I want to say it was 9:28 or something like that. And I went, he goes, we can finish together. And I'm like, that was mile 8. I'm not running that pace for 5.1 more miles. It's just not happening. So he's like, you got this? I'm like, yeah, I got this. I'm gonna grab some ice right here. I'll see you in a minute. And I just stopped to grab ice, and he kept going. And it was like that unspoken, you do you, bro.
Yeah,
I'm
good.
I'm not doing this. And I mean, I wasn't moving quick. I wouldn't say that it was great, but the only thing that picked me up more than hearing Kyle yell about my sexy ass was as soon as he hit me, I'm like, tell me the girls are out of the water. And he's like, both are out of the water, both are safe. And thank God he said this way, but he said there was a bad accident on the bike, but our people are safe. And I was like, we discussed the accident. I'm not getting into details now, but we discussed it a little, and I'm like, our people are safe. He's like, yep. And I'm like, okay. So that's when I was comfortable letting him go. And then I had a huge, like, sigh of relief. Like, I was 2 hours in at 9-10 miles, and I'm going, I got fucking 2 hours to walk 3 miles.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care what happens after this point. My people are safe. Knowing everybody the way that I do, I'm like, we're all going to finish this. And that's when I kind of went to all the. It's weird. You take all the positive stuff, and it got you through 3/4 of the fucking race. And that's when I went to all the negative shit, all the people that, the little snide comments that you're taking 3 people that don't even know how to fucking swim, and you're in you think you're that good of a fucking coach? Yes, bitch, I do. Oh, you're just trying to do Ironman because other people have done shit like that. Yes, because that's why the fuck I said I was gonna do it, and that kept me until some jackass sprayed me with a water bottle, which ended up being Carrie, And then I literally, I don't know that you picked up on this because wasn't I getting like ice or something when you sprayed me, or was
no, you were just past that.
And I was getting it out of my fucking pants.
I put ice.
So I did too several times. But I like looked up and I'm like, of course, Joe, you're gonna make me deal with this bitch the last mile and a half, because that's how he was. Because he was always like, when me and her would get into our little, and you guys have heard it on this podcast, when me and her started butting heads, Joe was always the guy that would be like, look, you two are just too alike. Like, she's just competitive. You're too good of a coach to fucking let it go. Like, just work your shit out. And that's what brought me back to the positive stuff. And I was just like, of course, Joe, you're gonna make me finish with her. And then I decided to have some fun because, and I'm gonna make her say it on this fucking podcast. So
I want to hear it, bitch.
She had said this so many times that walking doesn't count. And she said, do you want to finish together? And I said, I'm gonna walk. Let's see if she wants to finish together or if she wants to fucking keep running. And I stopped and I started walking. And what happened, Carrie?
So I got off the bike.
That's a good transition because we can get everybody up to the finish line and then we'll finish.
I got on the bike. Kyle flew by me too, and he said something stupid about like something about my ass or something like that too. And I was in the boring stretch of like the 40 miles. I think is where he passed me, and I heard it, and my face lit up like a
I was like everyone around me was like, what the fuck? Like, who is this kid? And I'm like,
awesome.
I was just like, it's Kyle.
Yeah, so I was like, hi! He was like, hey. He's like, come on, girl, pick it up. And I was like, you go. I was like, oh my God, I'm so excited to hear your voice.
I know.
He's like, Lex, it's good. I'm like, okay.
Yep.
So then we finished our...
But didn't that pick your spirits up?
Oh,
All of us were out there?
Yeah. And I knew you were ahead, and I knew you were fine, you were ahead because I assumed you swam up with the All-Stars or whatever, and I didn't pass you on the course, so...
I don't need All-Star.
Here's the thing. I was the only, you guys all met with each other at some point. I never saw Carrie one time, so the whole time I'm thinking, Carrie never got in the water.
You saw Kyle twice though, right?
Yeah, I saw Kyle twice. I never saw you, and I knew you were fine because I never passed you or anything. But I'm like, don't know where that bitch is. Don't even know if she finished. Don't even know if she started, actually.
When we did that 22-mile relay and I didn't show up for the handoff.
I drove really fast and you yelled at me and it wasn't even
Anyway, we're trying to get to the point where she admits something very important.
Alright, so coming in from the bike, I had no idea that all of our people would be lined up, when you had to walk your bike in.
They spread out for me.
They spread
out.
They were all spread out.
It lit my face up. I was so excited. So Christina actually just sent me a video, and I was beaming from ear to ear, and I'm high-fiving, smiling, all of that. So then I packed my runner's number in my bike pouch because I didn't leave it in my bag, and I had no pin. So I stopped at on the field, I stopped at the tent, and they were like, do you have a penalty? And I was like, no. Do you have pins? And they were like, no. I'm like, you have zip ties. Can I have those? So I had a no surrender pouch filled with food. So I took the zip, and they were like, sure. So they gave me a couple zip ties, and I went over, and I tried on the bike. I still had sand in my toes, and I felt like it was just digging into my feet and ripping those off. So I switched my socks, tried wiping more sand off, put my shoes on, zip tied my number to my pouch. I was like, perfect, even though it's like a kilt hanging over my vagina. But so then I took off, and I was an 8-minute transition again, but I was like, I'm not in a rush. My thing is not to blow myself up. Right. And I felt fine. My legs felt fine, which has never felt fine off of the bike, and I think it's because of all the hills and I had to stand up. So I think that helped. So I put my hair in pigtails, it stripped off my bike shorts, and I took off, and I saw everybody peace them when I ran by. So I started going, and I ran past the first aid station, there was a hill, went to the second one, and that's where my water was already warm. So I dumped that out, got fresh water, and got ice. Mm-hmm. They were like, oh, do you want ice? And I opened up my shirt, and I was like, drop it in. So he was like, seriously? I'm like, put it in there. So he dumps ice down my top, puts it down my back. So then the second aid station, they had sponges. So then I put one underneath my headband and I put one on my back. And I started putting ice in my water. And I knew it was gross. Everybody was like laying in this stupid ice, and it was like the ice kiddie pool. I would find ice in there and do it, but I was like, shit, I drink like piss water. I'm probably okay with this ice. So I made a rule to myself that I was not going to walk. This was even, again, addressed in the race, because I mean, when it came down to it, if I had to, I was going to, but I felt fine, tons of energy. So I was like, I'm not walking. I don't care what it is. I will stop at an aid station if I need to. From that point on, that's it. So my fastest mile was like 7:52 or something. I just ran. I didn't care. I didn't look at my watch. I didn't do anything. I just ran on how I felt. I knew I had to keep my body temperature down because in practice, if I blew up my body temperature, I was done. So I soaked myself.
I'm just patiently waiting for the...
Soaked myself the whole time with water. Kept soaking the sponges. I missed a couple of them. I peed at one. So with the stops at the aid station, I would say my normal pace was like a 9:15 to 9:45. With the aid station stops, it was like a 10-minute mile. So I think I finished my run, the half marathon, at 2 hours and like 15 minutes.
I think you did. I was looking at everyone's like final
that is
stuff.
insane. So I was really excited about that. I mean, at the end of it. But I met people on the course and I was talking to them. I think everybody I talked about Joe and the why we were all out there doing it. I was high-fiving fans, or not fans, but people that were out there. I thanked every law enforcement. There was one family that was outside. There was like 2 sets of couples, and there was a guy that was on his second lap, and he had a fast pace, and they were like, this guy's like, you look good, buddy, you look strong, your pace looks great, and I was like, what the fuck about me? He's like, you look great too, and I was like, okay. So then my second one, he was like, you look great. But people, I mean, so many people were walking. So it was 93 degrees out, I think, by that point. There was not really any shade. There was 2 big hills. I ran up those, and then I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do it.
I didn't run up a single.
Once I did those, I was like, I'm hurting. Like, I felt my heart rate go, and I was like, uh-oh. And I was like, nope. You said you're not stopping. And then I would tell myself on the bike, and then I reminded myself on the run. I was like, what would Joe P do? And I was like, Joe P would fucking fight, so you're not walking. So then I kept running, and I was like, I don't care if I have to trot. That's what I'm gonna do. So then I did, and then my heart rate would calm down, and that was fine, and then I would go again. But it was cool. Like the motorcycle guy, that was cool. Yeah. There was a guy that kept doing loops with an American flag shirt. He just kept doing loops, pointing at all the runners.
Whoa, you're halfway there. Not all of you. Some of you are. Yeah. I'm like, fuck you, dude.
It's all the little things. There was the guy from the half marathon in Toledo. You said.
Yeah.
He was out there just high five.
He was so excited. Like when I said, I was like, were you by any chance at the Glass City Marathon this year? And he goes, yes. And I was like, I remember you. Yeah. He goes, really? And I was like, yes. Like
they're like, you look strong. Yeah. You ran up that hill. And I was like, yes. But yeah, so then I come in and I don't know if I forget anything, but I pass the aid station and I always run at my eyes pretty much looking down. And it was cool to look at calves because it had everybody's ages on their calves. So it was really cool to see ages, and I was looking at like people's ages and how awful they looked and how they looked aged, and then some people looked really, really young compared to their, just stupid shit. But I looked up and I see Jay, like his whole backside, and I was like, ooh, Jay! So I sprint up there really fast, and I squirted him with my water.
She had to sprint up for me to, I'm emptying ice from inside my pants.
I sprinted, I got excited because I saw somebody, So I sprinted up there, and he's just like running like this. So
I was running at the time.
You were running, and I squirted him, and he looked over and was like, this bitch. Like, who the fuck? I don't want to do this anymore. So he was like, hey, what's up? I was like, how are you? I was like, can we finish together? And he was like, yeah.
But then what did he do?
Then he was like, I need to walk. I was like, okay.
And then you what?
I'll walk with you.
Oh. Well, say it one more time into the
No, that's it. But in my mind, I'm like, I'm not going to be that asshole. I was like, okay, bye.
I wouldn't have cared at that point.
No, that's not what we are. That's not the family that we are. That's not the gym. There was no point. I'm not in it to win, so.
No, I get you. But I just wanted to just say.
Hold on. After that, I was like, are you ready yet? He was like, yeah. So then we started running.
I mean, we literally walked for maybe
eternity. So then
it was maybe 0.1 miles at the most.
So then we start running, and I was like, just so you know, that's the only time I walked. He was like, wish I could say the same.
And then in my back of my mind, I was like, I'm gonna make you walk to the fucking finish. I was gonna make her. I actually thought about making her walk the last 200 meters, but I think he would have said fucking left me.
So then we were talking about how like training, and we just talked.
Let's get her to.
Well, she's not done.
Well, we're almost to the fucking finish line at this point.
And we just conversated. That's cool.
Oh, okay.
We did. We actually had a lot.
I think I talked and he listened.
No, that's not true. At one point, I looked at her and I know she'll remember this. I'm like,
My
Carrie,
secret training?
I'm like, do you think I'm fucking stupid? And she goes, so you knew about all that? And I'm like, I'm not fucking
She
dumb.
said something, and I told her yesterday. I was like, Carrie, when you stopped posting your workouts on Instagram, that's how I knew.
Alright, so 2 weeks before the Ironman, Jay told me to be smart and stop doing like lifting workouts.
No.
All I said was, do half of what you're doing and no Olympic lifting.
Pretty sure you
or-
said like no CrossFit workouts. So
I
I
said no
stopped.
gym workouts.
So I stopped coming to the gym and I worked out at home. And I would work out at 5:30 or whatever with Eric. And I was like, Eric, do not post anything about this because I do not want to hear about it. I'm not going to the gym because I don't want to hear about it. All we're going to do is fight. So I did them all secretively at
It
home.
wasn't a secret.
It wasn't
at
a
all.
secret. Everybody
Thinking nobody would know. Lisa was like, we know you're working out. I'm like, you do? And she was like, yes, come on.
We're not dumb. You thought you were sly.
I was like, but I went from 3 workouts a day to 1. I cut it back.
But we did have, we had some very enjoyable conversations in that last 10 minutes or whatever. It was really only about the last mile we were together.
It was.
And we had some very,
Like at 12 when we went in.
we had very positive interactions.
We
it was
mended
cool
our
because
relationship.
It was never broken. You're just a fucking pain in the ass. And you admitted it to me either then or afterwards.
I think it was then.
I don't.
I was like, I'm not the easiest athlete.
Yeah.
I know this. No, but I mean, I think our relationship that we've had as like coach and athlete or friend or whatever, like it kind of drifted a while. Like I didn't want to talk to you because I thought you were just going to yell at me about everything. So I mean, we drifted a little bit. So now I feel like.
But we always drift like that. Anytime I tell you you're being.
You tell me no.
Yeah. Anytime I tell you. She's a lot
Like
like
I'm a child.
She's
I
a
was
lot
gonna
like-
say, so like a child.
So she's pretty much like dealing with my 8-year-old. But I'm sure you always know that if I'm going to say something, and that's why you still keep me as your coach, you know I'll say it even if it pisses you off.
You may second guess it and tone it down, but I'll still do it.
Yeah. But anyway, let's get Lex up to this point.
Hey Lex.
Hey, you guys done fighting now? No, I'm just kidding.
No.
LOL. My bike dismount was very not graceful. I almost fell.
None of us fell though.
I did not. I almost fell, and I just laughed at myself.
I did not, but I did.
I almost
I'm not
ran
gonna
into
lie,
someone.
I saw the dismount line, I was like, fuck!
Yeah. I was like, oh,
People were like, slow down.
yeah, I know. And then I was like, damn, this is a really far way that I have to walk my bike. Because I wasn't going to run it, because I'm like, I'm not running any extra.
Yeah.
So I set off, I had to pee so bad.
Yeah.
From, kid you not, like mile 20 on the bike, but I refused to stop because I was so afraid of getting a flat tire that I refused to stop. And I'm like, there will be one at transition, because there was in the first transition, so there's obviously going to be bathrooms in the second transition.
They had
There were
porta-potties right
no, there
I
were
thought
not.
there was ones right out of that exit.
No.
Oh, wasn't it?
No.
That was on the
There was
course?
people.
Oh.
No. Do not pee.
Because I'm pretty sure I pissed in a porta potty after we
No.
left, but it must have been off the course.
No, it was way, yeah, it was
Yeah,
way
it
in the
was
back
out.
from the day before.
Yeah, yeah.
I went at mile 4.
So I had to pee so bad, so I had to start the run with an extremely full bladder.
First of all, you're in fucking black shorts. Just pee.
I
Doesn't
thought,
work
I,
that way. How do you do
legitimately
that
thought
as-
about that because I was like, because
I
I
didn't-
peed at the first.
I'd be like this.
She like, oh
I peed at the first aid station on the bike, and
You did?
yeah, because I was hydrated, girl. Like I was hydrated. I was good.
Christina had
there
us
was
ready to
there was
fucking
no
go,
issue
for
of
sure.
hydration for me that whole day. But I was So I had to pee really bad. So I went at the first mile, like as soon as I could. I was like, oh my God, it hurt to walk. My fastest mile I just looked was 12:31. So I went with the 4 minutes run, 1 minute walk for the first 7 miles. I saw Kyle at mile 5, and he was on lap 2.
That was right around the time you turned.
Yeah.
We just missed each other.
Yeah, we did.
Because he caught me we were both crossing mile 7, which was right at the start of the second loop.
Yeah. So that's when I saw Kyle, and he was just as happy-go-lucky as can be, and I was all excited. My dad, or my whole family, saw me going on to the second loop, and my dad said something like, "You look great," and I just felt, I feel like shit! And then I just kept going. And like all these people are laughing, and I'm just like, I do. Like I feel horrible. But I did that for the first 7. I put ice down my shirt and my pants whenever I could. I had the sponges, and I dumped water on myself. Like I'd get 2 cups of water. I'd dump 1, drink 1. Then I'd get 1 Gatorade, drink half of it because I wanted to throw up a little bit at the same time. And then I'd get 2 more waters, dump 1, drink 1, and then I'd get ice. Like I was going like.
I drank pop.
That was like that dude that they posted on Instagram that was like the fucking pro at drink 1, pour 1.
Yeah.
I mean, those guys get good.
And I was just like, it can take me an extra 10 seconds. I'm just making sure I cover all my bases. There were some cool signs out there. The people out there are awesome with their hoses and their sprinklers and their truck beds full of ice water. And there were times when I would actually get thirsty in between aid stations, and this is disgusting. But a couple times I realized I still had ice down my shirt.
I did it! I ate it!
And I was like, this is gross, I don't even care. Yeah. I did not run up one single hill because I said, nope, not doing that. So I'd run up to it and then I'd walk the rest. And then I switched to 3 minutes running, 2 minutes walking for a while. And then at like mile 10, I was
picked
like,
it up, right?
Oh, girl, no.
Well, on the app you picked it up. So let's roll with that.
Okay, sure.
Eric's like, she's picking it up. She's coming.
Nope. Went real slow. Met this woman, who was dealing with a urinary tract infection. So we talked about that for a while.
I was going to come up on a running course.
I don't know. I was asking her how her day was. And she's like,
my UTI sucks right now.
Yeah, she's like, some kind of
dude, I can imagine having.
Shit was burning or something.
Yeah.
Can you imagine having like a yeast infection?
Oh, God, no. But so we talked for a little while, and then like mile 11 hit, and I was like, all right, well, see you later, good luck, and off I went, and I made it like 2 minutes, and I was like, ooh.
Mile 11 is when you turn for either lap 2.
It was like 11 and a half, yeah.
Or you went to the finish. That's why she's saying, see you later, because that was a huge mental boost.
Yeah.
When you saw people turning that way and you kept going.
It was
this way,
almost like
I did it.
It's almost like a big lollipop because you had to like run the stem and then you had to make the circle lollipop and then you either went back towards the stem if you were done or you did the lollipop for lap 2.
Yep.
So that's how the course was.
Yeah. So I started going and I was like, oh, like praise Jesus, and I was like so excited because I was like, I never have to do this shit again. Like I was so excited just from that thought. Like
turning back in, you had to run downhill, and I was like, this hurts.
I ran every downhill.
Oh, the downhill hurt.
It hurts.
I felt
you have
great
to
on the
control.
I felt great on the downhill. I was
My
like,
socks-
hell yeah, I'm gonna run this whole thing downhill.
My socks were so wet that I could
squished.
feel, and my shoes,
squished.
I could feel the blisters just going.
Yep. So I loved the downhill. That felt great. But I kind of just felt
Like us at the quarry. I was like, downhill hurts.
Yeah. But I felt like the last mile or so, I just kind of went with what I felt at that point. Because like I saw more people, and so I get like really excited for a while. I'm like, ooh, that made me really tired. So then I walked for like 30 seconds. And I'm like, ooh, more people. And then like my uncle actually has a video. He walked with me while I was walking at one point, and he's like asking me questions.
Really?
Yeah. Cool. He's like, how is it going? I'm like, it's hot. Like, I'm tired.
The weird thing is I knew it was hot, but I never let myself think it was hot. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like,
I didn't realize it was that hot.
I didn't realize it was as hot as it was.
My brother-in-law asked me the next day, he goes, how did you deal with that heat? I'm like, honestly, I never let myself think anything negative other than about haters talking shit the entire day. It was just, I had a mission and I didn't let myself lose focus of that until, don't get me wrong, after it was hot as shit, I was like, give me the fuck out of the sun. But in that moment, it was, you didn't let yourself really allow yourself to feel.
I didn't, because coming off the bike, you have the wind, and then I knew hydration, or I knew keeping my body temperature down was the key on my run of pass or fail.
I wouldn't have made it if I didn't pull myself.
I got in the car and I was like, holy shit, it's 93 degrees out.
Yeah.
Like, I had no idea. Like, I had absolutely no idea, because I kept myself with ice and water the whole time.
Yep.
My body hit, I think, the heat exhaustion around like 8 or 9. I started getting the chills. And then when I was done, my mom was like, here, get in the shade. And I was like, I have goosebumps. I'm freezing. Because I think my body at that point was like starting to.
Yeah.
So we're all getting ready to enter the stadium. So
who's the first face we see?
I'm gonna let you go. I'll wrap up at the end, but I'm gonna let you guys talk about your finish first, because I'm gonna go straight into thank yous after that. But go ahead with your finish.
I had to finish with Jay. So we ran it in whatever, and Amanda was there with her kids, which was awesome. Didn't expect that. Going out, I didn't even see, but it had like the Trina and or like all the Englands and Lunsfords and all that on the one side, which I didn't see them when I was coming in on my bike, but I saw them coming out on the run. But so when we were entering the stadium, I was like, Jay, I'm not spraying this. He's like, me either. I was like, okay, good.
I actually said I might walk it, and then she started laughing, and I said, I'm not joking.
I'm walking. So we had to run through the tunnel or whatever, and there was a kid in front of us, and I was like, okay, I don't want to like be on top of this kid, and I don't want to be that asshole that like moves past him right at the end. Do you know what I mean? So like we spread back. Looking at the video, it's so funny because he's like so tall compared to me, and I'm like this little midget. But it was the coolest thing ever because we were walking in, and like, just to be stupid, but I like envisioned what it would be like to cross that finish line, and like how I pictured myself crossing it. It was nothing like that. So you ran and you saw all of the JG3 people. Actually, you heard them first, so we knew where to look.
Just to give you some perspective, it was in Ohio Westland's football stadium, and it was fairly packed.
Yeah, that's pretty loud.
With like a DJ nonstop or whatever.
I never even heard the DJ.
There was music, and then he was like on the mic.
I remember it from the video that Christina sent me, but I didn't hear the music at that moment.
Yeah, so I heard all of the JG3 people, so I just threw my hands up and I was like jumping up and down, like all excited. And then I went a little bit further, and then I heard all of my work people. They made a trip down with like my mom and Brody then, crossed the finish line, and I just pointed up to Joe and just said that was for him. And then just some other things that, it was between me and Joe, and I gave Jay a hug.
I didn't get a hug.
I think I hugged you. I hugged everybody that day, which is really weird. Yeah. So I'm not a hugger, I'm not emotional, I'm not any of that. That might have been the first hug I've ever given you.
No.
Yeah.
You hug each other at staff. You hug each other at staff.
No, I hugged her usually. That was the first time she ever initiated.
Oh. So then they like put a medal over her neck, took our band off, gave us some water, and we walked out. There was our family and stuff like that. So, but yeah, that was a moment I'll never forget. The whole thing, the whole experience. But,
just coming in, like I said, I had a lot of my family members right outside the stadium, and then saw Amanda like right as you turned to go in. So it was
she was literally at the entrance.
She was screaming, and it was great.
She Snapchatted our entrance.
She Snapchatted mine too,
which was cool.
I took a video off of one phone to the other.
Oh, nice.
So I have it. I can send it to you.
And then I decided I didn't realize how much farther I had to go still. So I was like, I'm picking it up.
Yeah, and it was a good. You had a 400 meter to go.
Yeah, I didn't really comprehend how much further I had to go. And then these chicks behind me had just taken a shot of Fireball, and so they were behind me struggling. They were like, that was a terrible idea. And I was like, that was fucking shit. Like that was a terrible idea. So they're like dying in the tunnel. Like they stopped.
That's disgusting.
I'm like, that's
how long did it take you when you hit to hear me and Kyle screaming?
I think it was when I got out of the tunnel, like as I was turning into the track. I could hear people yelling already. And And so then I saw literally the whole left front side was all JG3 people. So that was really cool. And then, so I thought.
We didn't know, I personally didn't know your parents were there until we walked over.
Yeah, I had no idea, first of all, that I was going that slow. I thought I was going really fast. I saw a video, I was like, damn girl, you are not going as fast as you thought you were. And then, so there was all of them, and then it was all my parents and my brothers. And so like they're throwing stuff like in my hands. Like I just crossed the finish line. I'm like, holy shit, like this is amazing, this is incredible. Because there was no one else around. Like I finished without anyone like around me. And I was like, this is so cool. They called me Alex, which that's
They
fine.
did. I was like, where's her name? And I heard I was like, he said Alex.
Yeah, they did. Like it's not that hard to add an IS, but that's cool, whatever.
Alex
And
is.
yeah, like whatever, it's fine. And my brother, there's like a video of him. He took a video because he was further down. He was like more towards it, and he's like Alexis, and I just look at him and I'm just like, huh? like
my mom was like, go Lexi. And
I know. I heard it in the video and I was like, that bitch. No, I'm just kidding. But I literally had to go sit down. Like I was like, I need that shade right there. I need to cry for a minute before I even see anybody. And so I sat there and they thought I was gonna pass out. So they're like, you need water, and they're like, for like the volunteers. I'm like, no, I just literally need to sit here for a minute. Like I just need a moment. Like I'm very overwhelmed right now. So then this lady was like, rubbing my back. She's like, you did such a great job. I'm like, thank you. I just need to sit here. I wasn't looking for anyone to pat my back right now. I will in a minute, but I just need to cry. So then it was over. It was really emotional and like, yeah, like really emotional. Like I was crying up until like 2 days ago. So
Yeah, it was, it's almost an out-of-body experience looking back at it now, but I know in the moment, me and her were having some dumbass chit-chat about who knows what at that point. Mostly me listening, not really talking. And then I heard Amanda yell, and that kind of caught me off guard, because at first I was like, I assumed everybody would be at the finish line, and I don't know why she was there, but that was huge, because I think I just told you, she had said, we're going to sprint, and I said, I might walk until we come out of this.
Sprinting.
Yeah, she said, we're not sprinting, and I said, I literally might walk until we come out of the transition.
Actually, I know.
And that's when I heard Amanda yell, and I'm like, never mind, we're good. Because
Yeah.
that gave me the boost where I'm like, all right, we're good. But I wanted to be able to enjoy and soak it up, so I was like, that little walk, just because I knew how overwhelmed and emotional you get. And that's the first time I let sink in for me personally. You know, I've had this goal with Joe since last July.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been hanging on this for a fucking year. And that's the first time I let sink in that it's about to happen in under 2 minutes. And it was just really tough to stay in the moment. So I heard everything, but I didn't, because I was so in the moment. I know at that point she's like, what's the plan for the finish? And I'm like, I think it took me a good solid.
Like, have you thought about it? What are you gonna do?
And I'm like, I'm just looking up to the sky. Like, I truly did this for Joe. So came around, and that's when you hear all the JG3 people go nuts, and then I see, my wife and my kids and all the people that sacrificed so much for us to get there, trained with us, tracked us. I saw Kyle's dumb ass, and I just started laughing at how amazing he fucking did. And then we crossed the finish line, and it was just like, yeah, it was, and it was like you cross the finish line, and like you guys said, they put a medal on you, they hand you a hat, they start talking all this stuff, and we're like they're trying to take your fucking timing chip off and all. And they don't realize you've just been through a long day of hell. And then Carrie gave me a hug, which caught me way off guard, because that just doesn't happen. And then we kind of separated. You went to your family, and I'm like, I gotta find my wife and kids. So I made my way up, kissed and hugged Debbie, kissed and hugged Trent, kissed and hugged Skylin, and then I just went straight to Carrie Pemberton. And after that, it's all pretty much a blur, because I took my medal off and gave it to her, and that's, I'm not going to share what I said to her or anything like that, because that has nothing to do with this podcast. But pretty much from that point on, I was just trying to soak in the moment as much as possible, because there were so many fucking people there. And I shared on a podcast last week my struggle with pills, my struggle with, neck pain and all the stuff I've been through. And as the owner walking through and looking up and seeing 40 fucking JG3 people, it was so overwhelming because I never let myself think about anything other than this was for Joe. So in that moment I had so many emotions of, yeah, it was for Joe, but you forget your fucking body did it, and there are people out there that cared if you did it or not. And just after hugging and kissing Trenton and Skylin and Debbie, it was like I let all the emotion in, and then it was just like I wanted to get away from everybody, but I didn't. Like I wanted so much space, but I didn't, because it was like I was losing it inside, but I wasn't losing it at the same time. And I was like, just, everyone's high-fiving you, asking me how it was, and I was like, literally my brain is mush right now. Please just give me a minute. And we got out, and I officially lost it when, and again, I'm not going to share what we said, but me and Kyle had a pretty long embrace where he shared some things with me, I shared some things with him just on training and things that we talked about, highs and lows, and me and him obviously had a very emotional podcast last week, or the week leading up to the Ironman, and he just thanked me for making him do that. And I didn't make him do it, we talked about it for 18 weeks, and then we finally shot a podcast, and I think it made him feel normal, and it made me feel normal that, hey, two of us went through some very serious health issues, and we got through it the other side, and here we are finishing such an amazing event that was so mentally, I don't care what anybody says, Ironman is a mental game.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, there's a physical aspect to that, but I seriously, I could have worked out Monday. I'm still pretty fucked up from mentally, but I was fine physically.
Mm-hmm.
It was the mental wear and tear, like writing my blog, I still struggle to talk to Debbie about it, because it's like every time we bring it up, I'm shocked I'm keeping it together right now, but every time I bring it up, it's like, you just want to lose it. And then, I'm going to skip forward because, we had a fucking killer party at the campsite, don't get me wrong. We had amazing barbecue, and there's so many people to thank, but February 23rd of this year, we laid Joe to rest, and we got to do something that I dreamed about for a long time, sharing a beer with him. So that was that.
So what we all did was we all met at Joe's gravesite with the Pembertons. And Kyle brought Joe's favorite beer.
Yeah.
Taylor was having a hard day. But it was us four and the Pembertons and Debbie and Trenton and Skylin, and we put one on his gravesite, and we toasted to him. And the girls, his girls, all of his girls, they dumped one out with a message to him.
Yeah.
Traced in the beer because they weren't going to drink it.
They spelled I love you.
Yeah. And we kind of just stood around there and told stories about how we all felt Joe throughout that race. Each one of us had a different experience with him. Each one of us talked to him in different ways, and how he motivated us, or whatever the signal and sign it was, like, that we needed, that he sent down. We all had something different, but we all felt him.
Yeah, it was an emotional day. It was awesome.
It was very awesome. I didn't stay for after the race. I just went home, went back to being a mom, and it was almost like I had tons of energy. I don't know why, but I think because we trained so much and we did so well, like, it's like, this just almost sucks, you know what I mean? Like, I did all of that, but now I'm just back home doing my thing, like, as a mom. But I was I needed that. So, like, we went there, we took a picture.
I still say, and I said it from the beginning, I wanted to make training harder than the event.
We did.
Outside of the stomach thing, the training was harder.
Like, for sure. Oh, 120%.
It was like when I told Trey it was easy yet hard as fuck. There was no doubt. You knew you were gonna do it.
As soon as I got off the bike, I knew I had it.
It just,
yeah.
it
was like,
sucked. I mean, don't get me wrong, it sucked, but it wasn't as bad as when we did it.
It wasn't, which was weird because I was like, everyone's like, oh, would you ever do this again? And it's like, well, I could because I felt good throughout the race. It was the training. I don't know if I could train for one. Like, it was very hard for me to balance my life and get training in. That was the hardest part.
And it was.
And we all had different hard moments, and it was all mental.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like you experienced that accident, and I would guess that the accident was probably the hardest thing for you on that Ironman, that you had to overcome and finish 50-some miles, or actually maybe more than that, like 70 miles. After witnessing a cyclist.
Yeah, which
death.
I don't know that I would have.
I can tell you a year ago I wouldn't have.
Yeah.
With certainty, I wouldn't have a year ago.
I mean, I'm not able to say 100% because obviously Joe meant a lot to me, and I said in one of the podcasts earlier on that you better have a bigger why than Joe.
It was way in the beginning.
I never needed a bigger why, and so I'm not able to say with certainty, but that would have fucked me up pretty bad. I don't know that I could have.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. In saying that, I think that's the coolest part of this podcast is we're gonna be able to listen to this a year from now, and I challenge all of us to go back and listen from episode 1 through this episode 19 and
our
and
hardships
just,
like way back a week, like
but
3.
just fucking, but listen to everybody change. And Lex was on the podcast as much as I was. Carrie was on the podcast almost as much as both of us, and just listen to the confidence and things that changed in each one of our athletes. I mean, I said it earlier, those that don't believe in a higher power, I wish fucking Kyle was sitting here and could tell you someone cannot look at what Kyle did and tell me Joe wasn't with him. He was on his bike, he was wearing his helmet. That motherfucker did things on that bike that I've never seen him do.
He pedaled, flew by us. I was going like 11 miles per hour. He's probably going like 19.
It was incredible.
And
like
it
just
was to share it.
incredible.
He said when
Like,
we
I
were out at
appreciate
that gravesite, he told Carrie that it felt like 4 legs were pedaling that bike. Like Joe was on that bike with him. He was like, I can't even explain it, but I just went.
But it was, I'm so proud as a coach to sit here and say we went 4 for 4 because of how many people I saw get carted off, how many people.
Then people tell you on the course that the odds are somebody's not going to finish because if you look at the percentages,
It was 1 out of every 6 people finish or something like that signed up, and we had 4 out of every 6, and 2 of them it wasn't really related to anything. I mean, Jason's shoulder was fucked up from his MMA career. It had nothing to do with anything else. So, just an unfortunate relapse for him, and obviously John's had nothing to do with physical.
One of my things that like Carrie Pemberton on that day, you could just see it in her.
We're going just audio now, guys.
You could see it in her face, like how, just how proud and like how, like she was like, I looked at Kyle and I saw Joe's helmet, I saw Joe's bike, and like you could, just if you were there, you would know what I'm talking about. Like just reading her, she is such a strong woman. We were out at her gravesite, and when we took a picture around it with our medals, and we played Joe's song, and we did like a song in silence. And as soon as it's done, like we're all sobbing. And as soon as it's done, she freaking starts handing out high fives. She's like, "What would Joe do? Joe would be giving high fives. Like, you guys did amazing." It's like, she's one amazing person.
She really is, and I asked her permission to leave my medal at his gravesite. She said, "Go for it." And it doesn't mean that I didn't personally go through it, but that was a year in the making, and I know he didn't pass a year before, but pretty much February 23rd on, it was like that was my only, I've said it several times on this podcast, but Scott England gave me a huge compliment because he goes, Scott and me have got to know each other pretty well through vacationing with the Pembertons and doing some other stuff. But he said, if you'd have told me that you were going to finish and not even 2 minutes after you were done, the medal was off you and on Carrie Pemberton, he goes, I don't know that there's a bigger, I don't know what word he used, but he goes, dude, you're one of the most authentic people I've ever met because you literally took it off your you worked 7+ hours for that and didn't even enjoy. I said, dude, it had nothing to do with me though. To say I'm not enjoying it because I don't have the fucking medal, that's bullshit.
The same thing. It's not about the medal. It was about the experience and the why behind it.
Yeah, like that was. I mean, she made me take it back. So there's fucking dipshits that see my picture on the internet with fucking my medal. She forced me to take it back to take some of our finisher pictures. But make no mistake about it, that had
go there right now.
Yeah,
that's where it's at.
I don't have the medal anymore. I don't want the medal anymore. It has, when I do my Ironman tattoo, it's going to have a cancer ribbon in it because this was just my tribute to one of my good friends. Let's get into thank yous because we're running, we killed a GoPro.
Yeah.
So you guys got any specific thank yous you guys want to get out there?
Just everyone here. Like, we've said it again since early on that everyone was doing this with us, and whether you covered the gym or whether you were just asking how training was going, or you came down, or you tracked, or you were asking questions through the messenger on how people were doing, and I think just as for my family looking in, they hear me talk about this place all the time, and how I just come down here even if I'm not working out here just to hang out with people, and they're like, what the hell, that's kind of weird, but then they saw it and they got it, and the support that you can get from just a single place, you can't duplicate that. You can't try to do that anywhere else. This is where it is, and so just everyone here is.
Kyle told me, it's the only part I'm gonna share that we had from our moment, because this was something that's relative to what you said. Because I obviously joke a lot about CrossFit right now because of a lot of stuff that's happened with me, and leave it to Kyle to be a complete smartass. He goes, fuck CrossFit, bro. He's like, everybody talks about CrossFit being super supportive, but everybody is super competitive and wants to beat you. He goes, I didn't meet anybody on that course that didn't want me to finish and do my best. And he goes, that's the closest fucking thing I've ever seen to what you built at JG3. It's still not what you built, but that's the closest thing I could do to someone asking me to describe JG3 fitness. He goes, how the people act at Ironman is how it, because he goes, you literally walk in and people want to succeed, see you succeed, and have no problem helping you do it, even if it means you beating them.
Yep. Absolutely.
And that was probably the moment I fucking lost my shit. I had already pretty much lost it with Carrie, but that was just a cool thing that Kyle said.
So, how many people down there had groups that big? Nobody.
We went back to that campsite and there wasn't a single person that had, and I know we're taking a very small portion sample size, but I didn't see anybody having a fucking party, nonetheless having Corey Lunsford wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning to start brisket because he didn't want to miss our finish, but he wanted my favorite fucking food. To be done by the time we came back. My brother and my two brother-in-laws skipping going to the finish line so they could smoke ribs and chicken wings, so we had extra food to eat. And I'm not talking just a little bit. Cutting up watermelons. We had literally, I think 40 people at our campsite when we got back with the most amazing spread. You just can't. It's hard to put into words, and it's weird for me to say it because I'm the guy that started all this, so I don't want to seem like I'm being arrogant or anything like that, but there's not a better group of fucking people than this, and it has, if I could tell you why it was the way it was, I'd probably be able to market it a lot fucking better. But it's not just me. It's Debbie was a fucking rock through all this. I mean, Debbie. People look at JG3 and they think of me, and they need to realize that it's not just me. Debbie sacrifices so much for me to be able to do and train for shit like this and be the one. Debbie doesn't like to be in the forefront, so I do that, but make no mistake about it, Debbie needs a thank you from everybody just as much as I do. And if you weren't at that campsite or in the stands or didn't witness that this weekend, you weren't paying attention, because she was the ringmaster of getting people into the right position and spreading people out and making sure we had everything we fucking needed, all while being the parent to, I'm out on a track with no phone or anything like that. She's watching 2 kids, and Debbie deserves every single bit of fucking credit. But you got anybody you want to thank?
Yeah. I mean, my mom helped a lot for training, taking Brody. Obviously Brody, but he's not going to understand any of that. Letting me do all of this and sacrifice some time. I mean, it was just little things where it's like if I closed at work and I had the morning off, like it was training. But just doing things like that, you also have like yard work and grocery shopping and all the extra stuff that you need to do. So then later on, it's like, well, I got to get that stuff done. So it would take away time from him, which, was part of it. So like she really helped as much as she could with all of that stuff. She'd help me, and she understood that I needed to train. Work was pretty understanding. They let me pretty much create my own schedule. So I worked 6 days a week, a couple short shifts. That way I could try and get some training in. And I mean, work might have slacked a little bit on that end of it for like reports and stuff I had to get done, but they got it, and they all made the trip down there. They all got me, they all showed up at my meeting 2 days before it with matching shirts that supported me. So it was really, really cool. The whole territory posted about it. It's just, it was really cool. It was a little bit of extra support that I didn't expect. But yeah, all of the gym people that just care. I mean, having a whole group of people behind you, it makes the hard times seem easier. And you can't, no burpees, you can't give up. Just because you have all of these people in your corner and that they truly want you to succeed. All the people that said that I won't be able to do it, so thank you. Always need that fuel. Because I don't know if you ever met me, but you tell me I'm not going to do something, I sure as hell am going to do it. Eric is another huge one. So there's a lot of times that I did not train just for the Ironman. So he would train with me in other ways like CrossFit or lifting or endurance and stuff like that, just to try and keep strength and cardio up. And it really, really helped. And on race day, he pretty much helped with Brody. Mm-hmm. Brody came home acting like him, and I was like, oh my God. We were in my office, and I was like, did you have anything to do with this? And he was like, oh yeah, we did that. I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna kill you. Yeah, I don't know if I'm missing anybody, but I think when I asked my mom for my phone when it was done and we were waiting for you to finish, I had 40 some text messages, I didn't so many Instagram and Facebook, and everyone just how did you do, how did it go? And eventually a couple days later, because I was the next day it's a Brody day, so I didn't touch my phone. And then the next morning, so it took me a couple days to just post how I finished. Mm-hmm. And I was I know everyone's asking and wanting to know, but I wanted to make sure that I gave Brody some time he gave to me, so I needed to give back to him. So yeah, I sacrificed the next day 100% just to him. So thanks for you for putting up with me.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Lex for training with me.
I'm only gonna name a handful of people because I'm gonna fuck up and forget. So I'm gonna keep it pretty basic on my thank yous, but that doesn't mean that I'm not thanking ever. So I'm gonna thank a few people just as a group. But first and foremost, Debbie. I can't thank Debbie enough for what she's she's probably the only one who truly knows how hard this was for me. The sometimes 4:30 in the morning wake up calls, the lunches, the getting home at 9 o'clock at night and have to do it all over. I mean, I have a very, very hectic schedule, sometimes planned down to the minute. So to just deal with my shit. Thanks, Debbie. To Trenton and Skyland, they started the journey of getting off pain pills and becoming the person I am today. So, just being there and jumping on my back when I'm swimming or when I finish a long training session, wanting to do something else, made it easier to pretend to not be absolutely miserable and sore. To the Pemberton family, they've become second family, so I know Monday was just as tough for them as it was for me, so I'm not able to put into words how much that means. And then I'm just going to thank the JG3 family as a whole, because I'm going to leave somebody out and I will feel so devastated. So anybody that sent me a text message, that sent me an encouraging message, that showed up to the event, that helped make food, bring me drinks, bring me anything at all. I am going to name Christina and Aaron from CR Juices because they handled a lot of my food. Scott comped a lot of meals at Fort Ball Pizza for me, so I'll name them.
Yeah. My sponsor.
Thanks for that Oreo fluff, brah.
But actually, that's where I'm supposed to be going after this podcast. But thank you to every single member, my in-laws, all the people that helped deal with my kids and stuff during the event. It doesn't go unnoticed when you have that many people show up to an event, how many moving pieces we have, and just thanks. We started this, and you guys got anything else? Because I think this is going to be a good wrap-up point. But I started this as a pact to Joe to do it, but to anybody that's listening to this right now, because we're dead on YouTube now, it's just going to say audio only at this point on YouTube, but to anybody out there sitting or walking or doing whatever when you're listening to this, if someone fucking tells you you can't do something, our motto is I can doesn't exist, and I can't tell you, I'm unable to put into words how many fucking people said that this was a stupid idea, how many people thought that this was a bad idea, that just because someone was diagnosed with something wasn't going to make us great athletes, and it didn't make us great athletes, but you underestimate the power of your fucking mind. So if you're sitting there thinking about running a 5K, you're thinking about fucking changing your diet, you're thinking about doing anything positive in your life, don't fucking let anybody tell you that you can't do it. Because our motto here is I can't doesn't exist. So thank you so much for spending this journey with us. We're going to take a little hiatus, and then we're going to kind of rebrand the podcast and do some other stuff. But this has been the Road to Ironman with JG3 Fitness, where I can't doesn't exist.
Boom.
Boom.